Okay, class. Next knot to learn is one that's used daily in urban forestry, tree climbing, and tree care work, as well as in things like rock climbing and search and rescue work. So, a single figure eight is the precursor to the double figure eight, which is a very safe knot that is non-binding and used in all sorts of emergency and life-saving work. But in order to get there, let's first figure out how to tie a single figure eight line. The single figure eight line is pretty quick. It's like the overhand knot, that knot you use to tie your shoes, except it's a whole lot better because it's not binding like this. So we'll use this as a stop knot for the double figure eight that we'll get to after we figure out how to tie this single figure eight, the topic of this video. So the single figure eight starts with the working end of the line and the near middle section called the bight, B-I-G-H-T. The single figure eight starts as a U shape in your line. Cross the working end over the bight, and then instead of, as in the case of the overhand knot, passing the working end through the loop you made in the bight, you wrap the working end around behind towards the direction of the standing end, the bound or not working end of the line. So that looks, if I give it a little bit more space, looks like this. And now you can see, or start to see at least, why this is called a figure eight. To finish this off, now we bring the working end down through the front of the loop that we created, or the top. So, starting from the beginning, working end, near end of the bight, make a U-shaped bend in the line, or an arc, cross the working end over the bight, wrap the working end below and behind the bight, bring the working end up and through the loop that you made. This is a single figure eight. And it very much looks like a pretzel or an infinity symbol or a figure eight. Okay? Again, this is a safe, non-binding start to the double figure eight that we'll use for things like emergency harnesses and rock climbing and so forth. So, I'll do it again. I'll repeat this a couple of times so you can practice along and figure this out if you've never tied a figure eight before. So, working end, the bight. Make a U shape somewhere in the bight towards the working end. So aim the working end towards the standing end. Cross that over the bight. Wrap the working end around the bight, around, under, and behind in this orientation. Underneath and behind. And then bring the working end through the loop that you made. Gently trim the line. Twist it a couple of times to see that figure eight shape. A couple more times for practice for you. Make a U shape. Cross the working end over the bight to make a loop out of the U shape. Wrap the working end around behind the bight that you just crossed on top of feed the working end through the loop that you created originally and gently trim until you get that figure 8 shape. Single figure 8. Sometimes it takes a couple, 3, 5 dozen tries to kind of wrap your mind, no pun intended, around a particular knots tying technique. There are lots of ways to tie a single figure 8, some of them a lot faster than this, but this is a very simple, easy way to do it. Make that U shape. Cross the working end over that U shape that you just made to make a loop in the bite. Wrap the working end below and behind the bite in the direction of the standing end, not through the loop. Then, from below the bite, bring that working end tip through the loop that you made. You may have to sort of gently pull the line down if you didn't give yourself a lot of working space at the working end. And gently trim or finish the knot until you've got that characteristic figure 8. One more time. Bite, standing end or fixed end or end attached to something, maybe the top of the cliff that you want to go climb if you're top roping. Working end of the line for the white colored electrician's tape wrapped around the tip. Make a U shape so that you face the tip of the working end in the direction of the standing end. Wrap that working end tip over the bite, the middle section of the rope. Wrap that working end below, behind the bite that you just crossed over in the direction of the standing end, not through the loop. Take your loose or working end, feed it through your big loop that you've created. Gently trim the knot, pulling it tight until you see that characteristic figure 8.